One presidential candidate has gone out of his way to praise regimes like that.
He has indeed. And what people say about Bernie Sanders is that Bernie Sanders is a democratic socialist, which, you know, when somebody says that to me, I'll say, look, I don't support democratic socialism. I lived in a country of democratic socialism for 5 years, and there was a lot of things I didn't like about it, but I was Sweden. But I was never arrested. I didn't have to wait in bread lines or anything. But, you know, when I started looking into Sanders' comments when he was the mayor of Burlington, he was this guy who right now doesn't like to speak about foreign policy and tries to get them to change the subject because people don't like his foreign policy. But when he was mayor of Burlington, he spoke out on foreign policy at any opportunity, and it was mostly on issues like Nicaragua and Cuba. So
well, here's a sample of what Bernie said about Nicaragua years ago, and he still says this about Cuba.
No one denies that they are building health clinics. Health care in Nicaragua is now free. Infant mortality has been greatly reduced.
Paradise.
Yeah, sounds great. No, it's wrong that nobody denies it, because I deny it, and I'm about to deny it right now. And I have long called this, I'm going to name this the sort of Michael Moynihan test. And what you do if you have a totalitarian ideology is you just give people free health care, and it doesn't have to work. You can build the clinic, doesn't have to be any patients in it, but then you can skirt all of these issues by saying, look, they have free health care, they have free education, they have literacy rates that are very high despite the fact they can't read whatever they want. And so that, for some reason, is okay. Why, for some reason, that the Swedes and the Danes and the Norwegians managed to have socialized medicine, and you can actually vote for opposition parties, and you can say whatever you want without being thrown in jail, I don't understand that quite yet.
And I don't get why he doesn't make that distinction, though I guess now he does. He says, I'm talking about Denmark. But Bernie says the communists make things more fair. Instead of in Latin America, few landowners controlling all the farms, they spread the wealth.
Giving, for the first time in their lives, real land to farmers so that they can have something that they grow. Nobody denies that they are making significant progress.
Yeah. Well, again, I did
Nobody
deny
denies
that.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Sandinistas came to power in 1979, and they overthrew a terrible, much like the Cubans, a terrible dictatorship, and they replaced it with another dictatorship. When the Cubans were allowed, when the Nicaraguans were allowed to vote for the first time in a free election in 1989, 1990, they threw the bums out. So they had a rigged election in 1984. But the idea that these people love this stuff, I mean, he says that other people love it. Well, how about we allow this wonderful democratic test to see if people do love it by allowing them to vote on these things?
Well, didn't they vote Ortega back in recently?
They did, yeah. I mean, this is and for some reason, Bernie Sanders and these people aren't backing the current Ortega, who now opposes abortion and has made peace with former Contras and made peace with the Catholic Church. And, you know, basically what he's been doing is what he's always done, stolen money from the treasury in Managua.
You wrote that you wish some reporter would ask Bernie, do you believe bread lines are a sign of economic logic? And I thought you were joking, but no, Bernie really said this about communism in Nicaragua.
You know, it's funny, sometimes American journalists talk about how bad a country is because people are lining up for food. That's a good thing. In other countries, people don't line up for food. The rich get the food and the poor starve to death.
So it's good that there are lines waiting to get food.
I mean, I think in the piece that I wrote, I sort of left this alone, because what do you even say in response to that? It is the height of absurdity to say the idea that there are bread lines because food is rationed and one gets a ration book, and when you get your rations, you don't even get very much, that is a positive thing. I don't think that you could sell that to the American people running for president in 2016.
Well, we could sell it to some.
Yeah, well, a few, yeah.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Coming up, another communist idea that many Americans are obsessed about.
We also have more income and wealth inequality than any other major country on earth.
But is that true? It's not exactly true. And anyway, my next guest says income inequality is good. Coming up.